Despite numerous research efforts, there is currently no effective medical remedy for dementia, a progressive disease that still lacks a cure. Consequently, studies are now focusing on enhancing the quality of life for individuals with dementia, with an emphasis on the broader notion of well-being. Simultaneously, social inclusion initiatives are emerging to improve recognition and involvement of people with dementia in social and political spheres at the international level, promoting social engagement and awareness. In response to this pressing need and influenced by the socio-political context, various artistic and cultural projects involving people with dementia have recently emerged. Participatory art, which encourages active engagement from its audience, has proven to be an effective approach in improving the well-being of individuals with dementia. Research suggests that participation in creative activities, such as art, can uplift mood, reduce agitation, and enhance communication and social interaction among people with dementia. This approach prioritizes the process of creation and the joy derived from engaging in the activity, rather than solely focusing on specific therapeutic goals or clinical needs. It is person-centered, tailoring activities to the interests and preferences of each individual. Qualitative research plays a key role in these activities, aligning with the current care approach that seeks to depathologize dementia and focus more on the person rather than the disease. Architecture can play a crucial role in creating supportive and secure environments in this context. However, most architectural research today primarily focuses on the care environment concerning dementia. This thesis resides at the intersection of art, dementia, and architecture, highlighting the necessity for interdisciplinary collaboration among architects, care professionals, artists, designers, people with dementia, and their families. The aim is to develop architectural programs that cater to their diverse interests and passions, particularly in the realm of participatory art activities. The central research question addressed in this work is, how could architecture support participatory art activities for people with dementia? To answer this question, a series of research methods were implemented in a step-by-step manner. Firstly, a structured literature review was conducted to understand the current state of artistic activities for people with dementia. This review yielded important insights, which were further explored and discussed in an essay. It delved deeper into essential concepts revealed by the structured literature review, specifically embodiment and bodily narration. The next step involved conducting 2 case analyses with site visits to examine concrete examples of how architecture can translate the concepts of embodiment and bodily narrative. In the third step, the research focused on identifying the optimal materials to integrate into dementia-friendly architecture for participatory art activities. This aspect is intricately connected to the sensory environment, which plays a significant role in shaping the concept of specific architecture. To explore the relationship between material usage and participants' embodiment, body language, and their emotional responses towards those materials, a material interaction experiment was conducted. The next step in the methodology involved applying the comprehensive design guideline that was developed in the previous 3 steps. This guideline provided practical instructions on spatial conception and explored how to translate the concepts of embodiment and bodily narration into architectural language. It was implemented in the creation of a specific architectural design, which forms the second part of the thesis following the research phase. The personal interpretation of the concept played a significant role in site selection, choosing materials, and determining the morphological logic of the design. Structured literature review. The structured literature review had the objective of identifying and analyzing high-quality research articles pertaining to participatory art activities for individuals with dementia. The aim was to gather insights that could inform the development of architectural interventions. The review focused on evaluating the design and implementation of participatory arts programs, the various art forms used, and their effectiveness in enhancing the well-being of people with dementia. Additionally, the review examined how the physical layout of spaces could impact the efficacy of these programs and aimed to identify approaches for creating inclusive and accessible environments. The research methodology involved gathering articles from previous systematic reviews on participatory art for people with dementia through diverse research databases. The articles were then filtered based on specific inclusion criteria, resulting in a total of 66 articles selected for the review. Evaluation criteria were established to analyze the articles, including details such as author and year, art form, activity process, participant stage of dementia, level of engagement, involvement of physical space, and other pertinent findings. Data analysis encompassed both quantitative and qualitative methods. The articles were categorized according to different types of artistic activities, and statistical graphs were employed to present the data. Additionally, a qualitative analysis was conducted through written explanations to provide in-depth insights and hypotheses regarding the identified patterns and commonalities. The findings uncovered several factors relevant to architectural design. Pragmatic needs were identified, including the requirement for adaptable spaces that can accommodate different art forms. Specialized spaces were recognized as essential in rural areas where access to art and cultural activities is limited. The establishment of exhibition spaces to showcase participants' work was also deemed significant. The review highlighted the importance of considering the presence of other participants, such as art professionals and informal caregivers, as well as the potential involvement of the general public in these activities. Furthermore, the results emphasized the need to strike a balance between creating a familiar environment and introducing exceptional spaces that positively stimulate individuals with dementia. In addition to pragmatic considerations, embodiment and bodily narration were identified as fundamental aspects of successful art activities for individuals with dementia. The review indicated that engaging individuals with dementia in creative endeavors could be facilitated by reducing the focus on cognitive ability and placing greater emphasis on nonverbal communication and bodily expression. Immaterial arts, such as storytelling with performance elements, were found to be effective in enhancing the engagement of individuals with dementia. The concept of embodiment emerged as crucial in understanding the significance of bodily experiences and expressions for individuals with dementia. Despite cognitive decline, body memory and the ability to interact with the environment through the body persist. Therefore, engaging individuals with dementia in art activities necessitates finding a shared language that transcends conventional cognitive dimensions, which can be found in bodily expression and behavior. Furthermore, bodily language adds a narrative dimension to art activities, infusing them with liveliness and emphasizing playfulness and improvisation. An illustrative example, the Penelope project by Anne Basting, demonstrated how storytelling engaged individuals with dementia in theatrical performances, where embodiment was evident through the actors' physical reactions in expressing emotions. Your skin is the skin of the world. After gaining an understanding of the significance of embodiment and bodily narration in artistic activities for individuals with dementia, an essay was written to explore the philosophical interpretation of those notions. This reflection centered around the works of Merleau-Ponty and Juhani Pallasmaa. The essay initially delved into the concepts of embodiment and the role of the body in perceiving the world, as well as the importance of the skin according to Maurice Merleau-Ponty's theories. The philosopher argued that the body plays a fundamental role in how we perceive and experience the world, allowing us to inhabit and comprehend our surroundings. The body gives meaning to the world and serves as a means of expression and narration. The skin, acting as the interface between the body and the world, enabling a sensitive continuity between the inside and outside of the body. The body is the tangible essence of me, serving as an instrument for exploring and attributing meaning to the world. It internalizes the world and extends itself through it. The skin acts as the membrane that separates the body from the external world, functioning as the connecting surface between the body and the world it has internalized. The flesh of the world represents this internalized world within the body, which shares its skin. Architect Juhani Pallasmaa highlights the role of the hand and sensory perception in art and architecture. He believes that the hand is not only a physical tool but also a creative agent that connects the mind with the physicality of thought. This concept of the thinking hand underscores the importance of art in helping humans understand the world. Pallasmaa also advocates for the integration of bodily experiences in all forms of art education, including architecture.
All art forms, such as sculpture, painting, music, cinema, and architecture, are specific modes of nonverbal thinking. All profound artistic works are engaged in the philosophical issues of the human condition. They articulate the very boundary line, the skin, between us and the world.
Pallasmaa suggests that art is a form of nonverbal thinking that should be embraced tangibly, creating a connection between the body and the world. In this context, both art and the skin serve as tangible mediums that bridge these two entities, connecting our physical existence with the apprehended world. Consequently, architecture that enhances embodiment and bodily narration, especially in the context of art activities, should impart a profound message to its users. Your skin is intricately woven into the fabric of the world. Therefore, it emphasizes the notion that your skin is the skin of the world. Architecture case analysis. The subsequent research focused on analyzing two architectural case studies, the Finnish Institute in Paris, designed by Juhani Pallasmaa, and the Dementia Village de Hoogwijk in Weesp. The objective of this research was to explore how architectural design can incorporate embodiment and bodily narrative, specifically to support participatory art for individuals with dementia. The observations made during site visits were meticulously documented through notes, photographs, and sketches. These observations were then analyzed through reflective texts and architectural drawings. The Finnish Institute, as one of the few realized designs by Pallasmaa, served as an inspiring example of how his philosophical ideas on embodiment were translated into tangible architecture. On the other hand, de Hoogwijk was recognized as the world's first dementia village, implementing a concept of creating a normalized living environment. Within the village's program, opportunities for artistic activities were provided for the residents. By analyzing de Hoogwijk, it was able for us to evaluate how atmospheric stimulation, a sense of familiarity, and body language were interpreted within the architectural context. The analysis revealed that in the Finnish Institute, Pallasmaa placed emphasis on the interplay between the trace of time, materiality, and the human body in architectural design. Materials like bronze and wood were carefully selected to create surfaces that evolved over time, enhancing the tactile experience of the architecture. This approach underscored the embodiment of individuals in relation to the built environment.
The door handle is the handshake of the building. The tactile sense connects us with time and tradition. Through impressions of touch, we shake the hands of countless generations. A pebble polished by waves is pleasurable to the hand, not only because of its soothing shape, but because it expresses the slow process of its formation. A perfect pebble on the palm materializes duration. It is time turned into shape.
The integration of both unfamiliar and familiar elements through materials and shaping added a narrative dimension to the cultural aspect of the Finnish Institute. Its exceptional appearance stood out amidst the typical Haussmann buildings in Paris. The main entrance facade, constructed with steel and glass, created a showcase that contrasted with the surrounding architecture while maintaining harmony with the existing facade composition. This juxtaposition evoked a sense of both familiarity and strangeness. The rear facade featured bay windows with thick wooden frames, symbolizing cultural significance. The architecture of the institute engaged both sight and bodily experience, as the use of solid wood flooring provided a unique sensation when walked upon. These details demonstrated how familiarity and strangeness could coexist within architecture, subtly revealing narratives through embodiment. The multipurpose hall in the Finnish Institute served as a cafe-restaurant and exhibition space. Its double height and large windows facing the rear facade created a dramatic atmosphere. Connected to the hall were 3 black metal box offices and a meeting room, allowing for different perspectives and views of the performances. This design encouraged movement and engagement from both performers and the audience. The play of sequences and changing points of view incited spectators to explore the space, highlighting the importance of body memory and the interactive nature of architecture. Additionally, the entrance facade window was treated as a frame, reflecting the continuity of the surrounding street as another spectacle to be observed.
The objects which surround my body reflect its possible action upon them. It is this possibility of action that separates architecture from other forms of art. As a consequence of this implied action, a bodily reaction is an inseparable aspect of the experience of architecture. A meaningful architectural experience is not simply a series of retinal images. The elements of architecture are not visual units or gestalt, they are encounters, confrontations that interact with memory. In such memory, the past is embodied in actions.
On the other hand, de Hoogwijk aimed to establish a normalized living environment for individuals with dementia, incorporating atmospheric stimuli at various scales. Specific interior design styles were used in activity and cultural event spaces. On a larger scale, the architectural structure emphasized a gated interior nature while creating the illusion of an urban exterior. Functional spaces had entrances facing the uncovered exterior, resembling streets, boulevards, and parks. This layout created a miniature urban setting and provided an atmospheric stimulus, enhancing the feeling of living in a community rather than an institution. The house units within de Hoogwijk were divided into different lifestyles, each with its own decoration. Although connected, the units maintained an individual house feel and opened onto outdoor courtyards. This design strategy created a sense of familiarity and security for people with dementia. By incorporating analogies to different architectural and urban typologies, de Hoogwijk created an atmospheric narrative that catered to the specific needs of its residents. During the visit to de Hoogwijk, an lady expressed her curiosity and desire to join the group through nonverbal communication. Despite being in the late stages of dementia, her body language effectively conveyed her needs and emotions. This event highlighted the importance of body language in communication for people with dementia, as their emotions and body memory remained present. Moreover, interactions through body language with individuals with dementia fostered empathy in those without cognitive impairment. Studies have shown that empathy can be enhanced through the practice of body language, emphasizing its bodily dimension. In the case of de Hoogwijk, the gated community system allowed for the establishment of norms that emphasized body language, enhancing empathy and facilitating interactions among residents. Material interaction experiment. The following experiment aimed to explore the emotional responses of individuals with dementia to different finishing materials and their application in architectural spaces. The objective was to determine the appropriate materials for a concrete architecture project. Due to the unavailability of participants from care institutions, 5 participants without cognitive impairment were involved, as previous studies indicated similarities in spontaneous emotion and embodiment between individuals with and without dementia, making the findings reliable. The experiment utilized 7 different materials, including wood, copper, stone, brick, and an aluminum bottle, relevant to the upcoming architecture project in Burgundy. Participants were asked about their emotions towards the materials and their application in a 3D space designed in the Burgundian vernacular style. Data collection involved closed-ended and open-ended questions, an E4 sensor bracelet to track physiological signals, and video recordings of the participant hand movements. The obtained data was analyzed both quantitatively and qualitatively. The qualitative analysis highlighted the significance of familiarity and the narrative associated with materials in eliciting positive emotional responses. Unfamiliar materials, on the other hand, sparked curiosity and playfulness but also revealed negative emotional responses. Thus, the research underscored the importance of balancing familiarity, security, and stimulation in architectural design once again. The quantitative analysis provided objective measurements of physiological responses, focusing on electrodermal activity, skin temperature, and pulse rate. However, limitations existed in using the Empatica E4 sensor and interpreting these signals. The measurements served as indirect indicators of emotions and could be influenced by factors beyond the material stimulation, such as environmental conditions. It was crucial to consider subjectivity and individual differences in emotional experiences when interpreting the signals. Additionally, contradictions existed among research articles regarding signal interpretations. Nevertheless, the quantitative results demonstrated variations in emotional intensity and fluctuations across different materials during interactions, indicating that materials could indeed stimulate emotions in individuals, albeit with difficulty in pinpointing the exact emotion. Based on previous studies, if the emotions and body memories of people with dementia are preserved, then it can be hypothesized that stimulating people with dementia through materials is reliable in architectural practice. Finally, those research findings were consolidated into a design guideline, which subsequently informed the creation of an architectural design based on the obtained insights. The Architectural Project. Situated in Mézières, Burgundy, France, the project is set in a medieval village renowned for its high-quality water source. The location was selected due to its distant position from the nearest city centre, Annay-le-Duc, emphasizing the project's significance in providing art and cultural access to rural areas. Moreover, the village has witnessed an increase in its aging population, with a corresponding rise in the risk of dementia. Thus, establishing an institution that offers essential services becomes crucial to enable the local population to age in place. Another factor contributing to the choice of this location is its existing architectural heritage. In 1952, Pierre Mathiot, a senior regional official, opened a care facility that utilized the thermal spring in the area for hydrotherapy. However, financial deficits and the resignation of Arlette Mathiot, the last heir of the family, led to the permanent closure of the thermal spa after 1990. Since then, the abandoned architecture has fallen into a state of ruin. The current architectural project aims to revitalize this forgotten thermal spa by incorporating a new structure that encloses and preserves the ruins. It also intends to introduce a more contemporary artistic program that caters to the population affected by dementia, continuing the spirit of care that the place once embodied. The design integrates the existing architecture with a new structure, aligning it with the original compositional grid to maintain the tradition of renovating existing buildings. This approach also evokes familiarity among local residents. Functions as a sequential narrative. The architectural program is based on a structured review, encompassing various forms of artistic activities and addressing pragmatic needs. The concepts of bodily narrative and embodiment are central to the design. The functions within the design are organized in a linear sequential narrative, similar to the approach used at the Finnish Institute, but facilitating the wayfinding for people with dementia. Sequence 1: The exhibition space. The new external structure creates a spacious open area illuminated by curtain wall and roof skylights, serving as the exhibition space. This space, open to the public, differs from care institutions like De Hoogwijk, which operate as gated communities. It allows for the display of works by guest artists, as well as those by individuals with dementia and their caregivers. Previous studies indicate that artistic education activities are typically conducted in museums and galleries, as the exceptional atmosphere of such spaces stimulates people with dementia, fostering a sense of collective identity and enhancing social interaction. While the exhibition space is now an insulated interior area, some trees are planted inside, reminiscent of its past outdoor nature. The original opaque concrete roof of the thermal source is replaced with a glass roof, improving the lighting in this underground space. This treatment adds contemplative value to this technically oriented area that is usually not visible to the public. At the entrance, a cafeteria is arranged using the same logic. Various shaped skylights allow light to enter, enriching the sensory experience. These arrangements aim to make the exhibition space more engaging and theatrical, serving multiple purposes similar to the multipurpose room at the Finnish Institute. Sequence 2: Spaces for material arts. The existing architecture serves as a creative space for material arts, offering separation from the existing rooms to facilitate the formation of small groups, an essential aspect of the person-centered approach. Within the overall floor plan composition, this space can be understood as an interior room within the larger added structure. The sense of a workspace is more intuitive in this perspective, and it directly connects to the exhibition space, enabling easy mobility. Art activities that combine art education and creation programs are typically conducted in museums and galleries, where the creative part occurs in dedicated workshop spaces referred to as interior rooms in the literature. These spaces emphasize maintaining participants' concentration. Limewash paint is applied throughout the space, preserving the original aspect of the existing building while creating a light and serene atmosphere. Sequence 3: Spaces for Immaterial Arts. Spaces dedicated to immaterial arts are located on the upper floor, facing the slope of the field. The open space of the external structure extends into this sequence. While this flexible space can be used for dance and performance practices, 2 additional interior rooms are provided: the amphitheater and the performance storytelling space. The amphitheater is acoustically insulated using corrugated wood, similar to the material used in the material interaction experiment. It is suitable for music-based activities such as group singing or dancing, and film screenings are also possible in this space. The layout resembles the theatre in Hoogwyk, but the skylight with automatic curtains allows for playful interaction with natural light. The performance storytelling space is circular, encouraging participants to position themselves in the same manner. According to the research, this positioning fosters a sense of equality and enhances interaction among individuals. When performances take place in the open space, an actor-audience relationship is established with Sequence 4, the in-between space. Sequence 4: The in-between space. The in-between space connects the entire public space within the new structure to the residential area. It functions as a semi-open corridor located beneath the large roof that covers all the main functions. Skylights produce light spots, creating a theatrical effect. This stage-like ambience is reinforced by the curved wall of the structure, transforming the corridor into an external theater where natural light replaces artificial spotlights. Thin vertical windows are installed to provide playful observation points into the spaces for immaterial arts. This design establishes an actor-audience relationship between the internal open space, the corridor, and the residential area, generating interaction between the moving body and architecture. The in-between space could accommodate dance, performance, and other narrative arts. Sequence 5: The residential area. The residential area consists of 8 3-bedroom modules, each equipped with a living room and kitchen. This integral part of the main structure resembles a family home, featuring a long, low-slung roof with dormer windows that form a corridor similar to the in-between space. Recycled aluminum water bottles are repurposed as watering cans connected to the gutter, and low herbs are planted underneath, creating a playful and theatrical atmosphere while preserving privacy compared to the in-between space. The mirrored houses form a passageway guiding users toward the annex functions. With a total of 24 rooms on site, the number is relatively small compared to the dementia village system. This arrangement indicates that the project's nature is not merely a nursing home but rather a living space that encourages artistic practice. The residence caters to individuals in the late stages of dementia, where mobility has become challenging, as well as to those from the city centre and neighbouring communes. Other village residents can live at home while benefiting from the services offered by the art space. Annex: the hot spring and other functions. The hot spring space offers hydrotherapy services, resurrecting the original program and taking advantage of the location's strength. Research has shown the benefits of hydrotherapy for dementia, such as improving cerebral blood circulation and enhancing cognitive capacity. Additionally, this service is also dedicated to caregivers and artists as a relaxation program. A restaurant and a supermarket are established to meet the daily needs of the residents, as there are currently no retail spaces in the village. The administration space and residences for guest artists are also provided. These annex functions are detached from the main structure and arranged within a series of modular houses, forming the main passage. Their presence aims to establish a connection with the village of Maziers, embracing the concept of aging in place through openness to the outside world, rather than inside an institution. Material and form, familiarity and strangeness. Based on the architectural case study and material interaction experiment, the materiality and forms of architecture play a crucial role in creating an embodying and narrative environment for individuals with dementia. The selection of materials was based on the findings from the material interaction experiments, utilizing a mix of local and unconventional materials. The overall form of the design was inspired by Hogwake's method of analogy, resembling the traditional structures of vernacular houses in the region but with a degree of transformation and exaggeration. The intention is to strike a balance between familiarity and novelty in the architectural elements. Familiarity plays a crucial role in making individuals with dementia feel comfortable and connected to their environment, while introducing elements of strangeness brings about surprise and stimulation. Both aspects are vital in participatory art activities, as they enhance the engagement of participants, allowing them to remain active without experiencing stress. The design draws inspiration from the unique characteristics of vernacular houses in Burgundy. By blending familiar elements with transformed and exaggerated details, it creates an environment that is both stimulating and comfortable. To establish a sense of familiarity, the design incorporates elements such as timber roof trusses and dry stone walls, evoking a rustic atmosphere and a feeling of safety and comfort. Additionally, the use of white limewash plaster on the interior walls of the residence enhances the perception of a vernacular family home, mirroring the style of local houses. This approach employs an analogy method, bridging the gap between traditional and contemporary elements in the design. Incorporating elements of strangeness, the design introduces features that may be unfamiliar to the local residents. For example, a glass box structure serves as an open exhibition and performance space, reminiscent of a contemporary museum environment. Unconventional materials like bronze are used for the main doors and performance storytelling space, creating a unique and aging effect that can trigger memories for individuals with dementia. Corrugated wood is employed for soundproofing in the amphitheater, adding a playful and tactile dimension to the space. The design also blends elements of familiarity and strangeness. Existing aluminum bottles are repurposed as watering cans, bridging the past and present and evoking a sense of nostalgia and curiosity. In a semantic sense, the act of recycling existing objects can also serve as a reminder of the intrinsic nature of architecture, which fundamentally involves renovation and revitalization. The presence of skylights creates light spots throughout all the sequences, serving as a cohesive element that signifies the project's continuity and consistency. They also contribute to the complete theatricalization of the spaces. In this analogy, these spotlights inspire users to perceive the architecture as a theater stage that showcases their bodies in motion, forming a narrative. This playful interaction between the body and the architecture enhances the overall experience. By manipulating the form, the ordinary natural light transforms into an unusual element that enhances the space. It takes on the characteristics of a material, creating an exceptional atmosphere. Users should experience a blend of familiarity and novelty, evoking a mixture of sensations within them. The layout of the architecture and the interplay of familiar and unfamiliar materials and forms construct a narrative sequence, emphasizing the embodiment process where the architecture becomes a medium connecting the built environment and the body. This sensory approach allows users to assign meaning and engage with the architecture, ultimately creating a space that becomes an extension of the body. Architecture has thus become the flesh of the world. Conclusion. In this research, the initial inquiry focused on how architecture could support participatory art activities for people with dementia. To address this question, a comprehensive examination of the current state of participatory arts for people with dementia was conducted through a well-structured literature review. This review not only classified different forms of art but also identified the practical requirements that arise from implementing these activities. Initially, architecture was considered as a preliminary response by providing a suitable program that caters to the functional aspects of each activity. This approach is evident in the site selection, where the final design is situated in an aging rural environment to address the lack of access to art and culture in such settings. Additionally, the architectural layout of the space, with dedicated areas for material arts, immaterial arts, and exhibition spaces, meets the specific needs of each artistic activity. This development, which extends the existing village, not only offers an aging-in-place solution for local residents but also encourages the participation and contribution of both people with dementia and the general public, thereby enriching the social lives of individuals with dementia and reducing their sense of isolation. However, the research findings extended beyond the functional aspects and revealed more abstract concepts. The significance of participatory artistic activities for people with dementia lies in embodiment and bodily narration. Pallasmaa describes art as a form of nonverbal thought that resides in the bodily language of each individual. Through this expression that surpasses verbal communication, interaction between people with dementia and others becomes possible in participatory artistic activities. Although cognitive memory may decline, bodily memory is preserved, allowing for narration through bodily language. According to Merleau-Ponty, this bodily language narration even enables humans to interact with and internalize the world as an extension of the body. The role of the body provides an alternative perspective on human cognitive abilities. Art, which emphasizes embodiment, becomes a means for people with dementia to engage with others and perceive the world. Therefore, architecture that supports such activities should also facilitate bodily language, highlighting the interaction between bodies and between the body and the architecture itself. Architecture should embody the concept of the flesh of the world as described by Merleau-Ponty, representing the world internalized by the body. The skin acts as the contact surface between these two entities, belonging to both the body and the flesh of the world. Drawing from the results of architectural case studies and material interaction experiments, various solutions were derived to enable architecture to become the flesh of the world for participants. The incorporation of narrative sequences was introduced to create a sense of movement and storytelling within the space, turning each individual into both an actor and a spectator. Moreover, the interplay between familiarity and strangeness allowed participants to feel stimulated in an extraordinary environment while maintaining a sense of security. In this context, the body naturally interacts with the unfamiliar architecture to internalize it, but excessive unfamiliarity may induce stress and hinder bodily interaction. Therefore, familiarity provides a grounding point for safe exploration by the body. These elements of familiarity and unfamiliarity are expressed through the use of materials, their shaping, and the overall form by drawing analogies to other architectural typologies. In summary, architecture could support participatory artistic activities for people with dementia by first identifying the types and needs of these activities to generate functional solutions. Furthermore, it should emphasize embodiment and narrative through the user's bodies by becoming the flesh of the world for them.